Pillar of Truth, January 9th. Josh, in the Old Testament we find laws like, you shall not hate your brother in your heart. And just a few verses later, you shall not shave around the sides of your head, nor shall you disfigure the edges of your beard. Why is it that we should obey one of these commandments and not the other?
Okay, yeah. In the Mosaic law, the law that was given to Moses, we do see distinctions in laws. There are laws which I would call ceremonial laws, and there are clear moral laws that have to do with the character. Ceremonial laws would be such as like sacrifices, the construction of the tabernacle, these feasts that were given specifically to the people of Israel and for a specific purpose. And there was a point at which they were instituted, at which point they had to obey. They had to do, and if they didn't, they were sinning. And there was a point at which they ended, in which if they continued to do them, they were sinning, because God had commanded them to end, because they served as a picture, they served as a reflection. Sacrifice was a picture of the true Lamb, the Lamb that takes away the sins of the world, Jesus Christ. These animals that were unclean were, whenever the Lord made them clean, they were a picture of the Gentiles being brought in to the body. And so they had this shadow substance relationship that we see from the Mosaic law and the New Covenant. Now there's other laws which did not see a beginning and an end over a period of time, but which are a reflection of the holiness of God Himself, which for all times are a standard that we need to be held to. Now, when we look at a command in the Mosaic Covenant, where we see both of them, the moral laws are given, like you just said, you don't hate your brother in your heart, and then don't shave your beard. I mean, how do we know where to group these? Well, I think if we just look in the New Testament, or the New Covenant, we look at passages, for instance, let me just open up here to Romans chapter 1, where it begins to talk about the wickedness for which men are condemned by, not within this specific people at this specific period of time, in the Mosaic Covenant, but throughout all times. And we see that this law that is written on their heart on the basis of the things which God has revealed, that alone is enough to condemn them. And the things which they are condemned for are they're for dishonorable passions, and for they exchanged natural relations for those which are contrary to nature. That they were covetous, they were envious, you see all these things, and when you come to these passages, well, what are the things which are being condemned? What are the things that are continuing to be called wicked, even in this new covenant? Because we come to these passages, in 1 Corinthians 6, where it says, like, the unrighteous will by no means inherit the kingdom of God. It doesn't say all those trimmers of their beards, and all of those who don't wash their clothes if it goes mildew on them. I mean, it's those wicked, those haters, those sexually immoral, those covetous, those jealous. Those are the things that are being condemned. And by that, but we can see what God's moral standard is simply by what the New Covenant tells us about what's persisting, and which has been shown to have a fulfillment. And by that standard, I think that most of the Mosaic Covenant, the laws which we ought to be obeying, and the laws which we have been fulfilled and the shadows have met their substance. In that sense, it is made clear to us.